then, people, here we go. First, MJA, that's more James Allcott with me, more, and we're going straight into a tier list. Tuchel's squad will be announced incredibly soon. And so I thought we'd do one of the old boys, one of the staples, one of the good guys, and we're going to go through what we believe to be, or should be, Tuchel's squad. So here is the tier list. Welcome all. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through it, and it's going to be difficult, and by the end of it, it could get messy. So make sure you are here to help me make my decisions, because having a quick little dance around with it and play with it, I haven't actually even figured out exactly what I want. But we're going to go through a hell of a lot of players. I'll put forward some stats as well. You guys can talk to me. We can talk together. Life can be great. And you can realise that, yes, I am a three-dimensional person, and we are friends. Let me just touch you there. Lovely. Hit the like button. Let's get involved, and let's go through the tiers. So, as ever, we're going to go with, he'll go. And not only that, he'll play. We'll go squad regular. That basically means someone that I think Tuchel is going to want to have in his squad for the next 18 months with him as the manager, of course. And worth a look, I think, with the tactical system that Tuchel plays, and actually we could touch on that, actually. Let's do that right now. There's two things that we're going to see here. Is it going to be a back four, or is it going to be a back five, or more importantly, a three at the back? Those are the things that we need to kind of remember here. And within that, that makes these roles, for example, if it is a back three or he wants to explore that back three, that's going to be really important. That has a ripple effect. Great podcast. Go check it out. And make sure you check out the ones with JJ Ball this week. It could have a ripple effect on those wide players as well. And then it has a ripple effect on these players as well, because what can often happen is it turns into a bit more of a box when it comes to these two attacking midfielders instead of having that width. Now, that will change on the personnel, but with Tuchel, he's had different personnel at different times. So I think it's super, super interesting to see what he does and what he explores and how he explores. And so that's why I thought this would be really, really good fun. So let's dive into it. We're going to go pretty quick fire, to be honest. Kick off with the goalkeepers. I'll try and put forward some stats along the way, and we'll have some go through the talking points. And maybe kick off with the goalkeepers, because you've got Pickford, you've got Henderson, you've got Ramsdale, and I think you've got James Trafford as well, who I think is an interesting one when it comes to this. And there has been rumours of Championship selections here, and I've got a couple in this tier list. I think Jordan Pickford, I think he will go to him first. I've got a whole video on the James Allcott channel talking about how Tuchel will set up and going into more detail. And he is quite sort of, he's adaptable in the sense of that he can bring in different styles of play depending on how good that goalkeeper is. I think Pickford's a really, really easy one. And I think it's, for the goalkeepers, it feels quite simple to me. I think like the passing is a big part of it. And I think the important thing here is that Tuchel's going to he wants to go and win the tournament. And I know that sounds so obvious, but sort of the time for development, there's a little bit there. But what he's trying to figure out is, what is my best 11 and which players can play in the style of play that I want to. But at the same time, we need to go and win and not be afraid of going to try and win. And so the goalkeeper is a big part of that. And having a goalkeeper that can be good on the ball is going to be absolutely crucial, I think, in terms of how they want to play it and go and dominate. So with that in mind, I think he will go with Pickford, and I think he'll play and he'll be given it initially because of the experience he has, but also because I think he's pretty good on the ball. The person I feel like he's going to miss out here, rightly or wrongly, and time will tell, is I think he's going to quite like Ramsdale, and I think he'll quite like Trafford. And I think Trafford's important here because I think with Trafford, he is developing. He does have a high ceiling. Is he going to kind of let you down at some point? That's the concern, isn't it? Like when the pressure's really on, is he going to be, able to step up to the plate? But you can tell that he's coming. You can tell that he's class. Ramsdale, I've always been a big admirer of. Like every goalkeeper has a bit of a ricket in them, but in terms of being sort of good with your feet, for me, Dean Henderson is probably the best, up there with Pickford as the best shot stopper. It's tough with goalkeepers. Kasper Schmeichel said the other day on the Overlap, I thought it was really interesting, that all goalkeepers are good shot stoppers. I would say that for that top three, that's the way I see it at the moment, and I think Dean Henderson, of course, doesn't have no chance, but I think he's in the danger zone at the moment. We move on to Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis, who's got the highest completion of all fullbacks when it comes to passing, 92.6%. Versatile player, can play both sides of the fullback, can invert into midfield, bit of a Swiss Army knife. I'm a huge fan of his. What I fear is that the style of play, and there's going to be a few players here that I just don't think kind of fit what he wants wholeheartedly. I think a big part of that actually is the double pivot here. And I think that's where you'll see some casualties where it'll feel a little bit unfair almost. And again, also that back three, if you are going to play a back three, that will affect things, affect the opportunities that you have for others. And I think Rico Lewis could be one of those casualties. And so I'm going to put him in the danger zone. Not because I don't like him. I do like him a lot. I just think the sort of football meta is changing so much. I think Jake Entwistle is a really good writer, amazing writer for Scouted Football. You guys will know that I've done stuff with them just because I like them. He was saying about how football meta can accelerate or decelerate the development of a player. And I think we've seen the good and the bad of that when it comes to someone like Rico Lewis. And I think at the moment he's suffering from the fact that he's kind of on the wrong side of it at the moment. And I think it will come round because I think he's a class player. But I think Rico Lewis is one of those problems. Back to that tactical setup of Tuchel, I think someone who will, and I'm here for it, will thrive under that is Tino Livramento. Can play on both sides, could well be the sort of, not the Kyle Walker replacement, but I mean, obviously he wants to play on the right. And the thing that's important here is there's a couple of injuries. So John Stone's not available for this squad, which is important. We're talking about this squad, the first squad. What does Tuchel want to see? And another name that is unavailable is Lewis Hall, out for the season as well. So that affects what happens here with this first squad and what he's able to do. And so Tino Livramento, I think, has to kind of be in there and has to be in the squad. And we'll come back to if he'll actually play. I think he'll obviously take part at some point. But an amazing player, right? Jed Spence. Jed Spence is interesting. And this will get quite populated. But he's absolutely worth a look. Now, is he the player that should be starting? And the balance of the whole team is a different issue here. But I think he's absolutely worth a look. I think he's totally earned that. And I also think that you should go check out the video we've done on Jed Spence because it's bloody good. It shows how brilliant he's been. And he's come back from a lot of turmoil in the last couple of years. And I think he deserves it. And I think he's, as I say, can play on the right, can play on the left, can play as a wing-back. Really, really good option for them. Completes 2.45 take-ons per 90, which is the most of any fullback in the Premier League this season. For a team that's going to go to take it to the opposition, he is a really, really good player for the squad, I think, and is someone that Tuchel kind of really needs to have a look at, in my opinion. Trent, 8.3 progressive passes per 90, 1.87 key passes. That's the highest of all fullbacks. How is he going to be used? That's going to be really, really interesting. Like, how much will he kind of step in? Or will it be actually up here that he might step in? And does that affect one of these 10s, especially if you're playing with a 3? Can Trent be the wholehearted width for you? Or is it one with more with a back 4 and then you end up having a 3 here? That someone else provides that width and it allows him to step into here. Either way, there's a lot to explore there and a lot to be excited about when it comes to Trent and him being involved in the team. And I think he'll go. Not only that, he'll play. Because I think Tuchel will want to get the best out of a player as exciting as that. And actually, maybe in a 3, it could be really, really, you can let him off the leash a little bit. I'm quite excited by that personally. So, he'll go. And not only that, for me, I believe he will bloody play. Where is he? Have I put him in there already? I can't find him. Trent, where are you? Well, when we find Trent, we'll put him in there. There he is. Trent, good lad. Not a squad regular. Up your pop. I think he'll play. Reece James. Right. Let me know in the chat. Let's talk to the chat about this one. If you are watching the stream, enjoying the stream, and want more streams, then please hit the like button for me and share this to your mates. And also, of course, let us know your squad. Reece James, do you want to see him? Do you want him in this squad? Tuchel's worked with him before. Could use him as a right-sided centre-back if you wanted to explore that. And now kind of is the time to explore before you start getting, close to this World Cup. all being well, we make it. And they've worked together and he's thrived there, but he's obviously been struggling with fitness. I would put him in the danger zone personally, and the reason I'll do that, and this is a sort of personal preference that Tuchel will need to have, is he going to learn anything from having Reece James in this squad? He knows enough about him. I would say he's in the danger zone for exactly that. Now, does that mean that he's never going to be in a squad? Absolutely not, of course. But he has to prove over a nice long period of time that he can be fit. Just 12 games this season so far, 2 goals, 1 assist. Let's see that, and then when we get into sort of September and the international breaks there, that's when you go, look, Reece, I know what you're about. In your pop. That's when I think you do it. But for this first squad, I think he's in the danger zone. Actually, I'm leaning towards no chance. But I just don't think he needs to do it. Unless the only reason he might do that is if he wants to lean on players that know how to play the way he wants to play, and almost to kind of show the rest of the team. This is what I mean. It's going to be a really, really interesting squad to see what they do here. Now, this next name, Ben Chilwell, obviously at Palace, he's got like 200 minutes, 212 minutes. But despite rarely playing, he does have that pre-existing relationship. They work very well together. And again, if you're going to play a back three, I've got too few players here. Hang on, I'm messing about. No, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. I always screw this up. With him as that left wing back, you know what you're going to get. And without Lewis Hall, is it worth just kind of exploring that? Very possibly. Very, very possibly. I think he's actually got a chance. Is it worth I think it would have been in no chance. He would have been. But because of the situation, he's actually bumped up to danger zone. It's just if he wants that familiarity of someone just naturally left-sided, and if he's going to kind of allow him to be above Tyrick Mitchell, who I think Tyrick Mitchell is worth a look more so than Ben Chilwell for the exact same reasons that you know what Ben Chilwell is about. I think kind of take your time, explore in this first squad for me. That's what I would like to see personally. Let's keep moving. Who we got? Lewis Skelly. Interesting this. Right. I'm going to put Lewis Skelly in the day, but with the lack of left backs, maybe it's worth it. I doubt we'll see him the way that he plays. You're going to have those players that invert like Lewis Skelly has been doing. And so I think he's in the danger zone for that. And I think he will struggle. If it's 1-1, wow, what a start he's had. Get him involved. Then, okay, fine. But I'm not sure you need to see him just yet. I think you need to build some form of tactical familiarity with within this team. Are we playing with a back four? Are we playing with a back three? Can we go from one to the other? Maybe worth a look. Oh, I don't hate the idea of a worth a look. Tactically, doesn't totally fit for me right now. I could chuck him in there. I think when we get to try and get to a final like 23, it's one where he might end up dropping down. Again, from that tactical point of view, actually, I'm going to put him back in danger zone. I just think he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it right now. He's thriving. Just let the boy live. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, again, the other side of it, right? Look, he's 27. Has the lowest dribbled past average among all Premier League fullbacks. And it's an interesting one, and I don't think it will come to be. I think any manager, and this is another thing that Tuchel has to decide, how brave is Tuchel? We don't know, and I don't think he knows, because the problem you have as England managers, huge pressure, big names, and a plethora of names, full stop. So is he brave enough to pick a less fashionable name that fits the squad? That has been a problem over the years, time and time again. Is he brave enough to do it? Wan-Bissaka has been absolutely fantastic this season. Can play as a really, really good right wing back. I think the problem is it's going to be Trent, or it's going to be Reece James, or it's going to be Livramento. And I think the same thing that will kind of plague the rest of his career is that even playing as well as he is kind of not even worth the look, because I just don't think they'd ever get anywhere near the squad in the end of it when you're picking 2 players and maybe another guy who could go and do it. I think he wants that little bit more, and it's brutal. I want him to be given a cap. I think he obviously deserves a cap, or more caps, sorry. But I think he's probably in the danger zone because I don't think Tuchel's too bothered about having a look at him. Ben White. Ben White, can you get him to get involved? Can you sort of win him over? If you can, for me, I think he's a squad regular. If not, you're getting close to playing, depending on what road you go down when it comes to the back three or the back four. But to be honest, even with the back four, he is a superb footballer. So absolute squad regular for me. Need to get him involved if we can get him involved. And of course, lots of ifs and buts there. Mark Gay. Most tackles made amongst centre-backs with 1.77 per 90 in this list. He's got the experience of playing the back three this season at Palace. Of course, he's playing the back four for England. Incredibly trustworthy option. And actually, I think not only will he be in this squad, but without Stones being involved, I think he will play for me, be it in a 3 or in a 2. And I think let's keep building this out. But we'll make that call on what I think he will go with initially. But I think he's going to obviously test out both. Levi Colwill, another one. When John Stones is fit, if you are playing a back four, that's a different conversation for sure. Of like who of that 3 are you playing? And I think the battle becomes Levi Colwill against Mark Gay, 22-year-old against a 24-year-old. I think that's very exciting for England. 4.2 progressive passes per 90, technically brilliant on the ball, left-footed as well. I think he'll go and I think he'll play. And I think these two are set, if you are going to play back four, as the 2. And I think if you play a 3, Gay comes and plays as that centre of the 3. Jared Branthwaite. Most clearances of all centre-backs this season, 6.8 per 90. Towering presence at 6'5". Adds aerial prowess to this team and to that back line from set pieces if you want to score some goals. At the very least, worth a look. Could even be a squad regular. Maybe that's one we come back to a little bit later down the line. It'd be interesting to see him kind of in that arena as opposed to the Everton arena, which is just that little bit different, isn't it? Especially in terms of the way that they're defending now and the way they were defending under David Moyes. Ezri Konsa, such a good player. The more I see him, the more I like him. And if you're going to go to that 3, what we really like about him and Ben White is that ability to go and fill in at right back if you need to do that. Also plays a right-sided centre back. Really comfortable that way, comfortable on the ball, steady Eddie. We like Ezri Konsa. So I think I'd really like him to be a squad regular. It's not kind of about being worth the look. Again, tactically, I think he works for the team. He's never going to let you down. Great player. Absolutely love him to bits. Second highest pass completion amongst the centre-backs with 92.7%. Baller. Taylor Harwood-Bellis, obviously going through a tough time with Southampton, but has the highest progressive passes amongst the centre-backs in the list that we've got here. Obviously, he's scored for England as well recently, isn't he? And despite their poor form, I think he's very, very highly rated. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be amazed if he's not playing Premier League football next year. I think it's one where, and again, we're going to have to figure out these numbers here, but I think it's worth a look just to kind of go, how Tuchel, again, going, how do I want to play? Can he play the way I want England to play? How does he cope in a 3? Can he play in the centre of a 3? I think these are all things that are really worth exploring. Jarrell Quansah. I think with the other centre-backs that we've got at the moment, and this isn't a comment on is he good enough or not, is he playing enough or not, I would say Quansah is a no chance for me for this squad. I'd be absolutely amazed if he is in it. And therefore, yeah, I'm not going to put him in there. Maybe a bit cruel. Has got 19 games this season. Yeah, I just don't think he's done enough to force his way in ahead of the other options. We move into midfield. Now, from that video that you can go see of how Tuchel's set up, that midfield pivot is a really, really interesting one because you've got 2 players there that I think you want one guy who's just going to get it and play it short and keep it ticking. You want 2 players who can keep it ticking because actually what they do is they come quite narrow a lot of the time. And that then leaves these spaces in here for you to progress in a different way as well, depending on the profiles of the whole team. But that midfield too, it will be a double pivot and they will be working together. So who are the 2 that you want working together? And if they are going to be working in these areas of the pitch, which I think is important to say, you want someone comfortable in that area of the pitch. But I also think, can you have 2 players that can can sort of work together, because if one wants to go, the other one can sit in, totally comfortable. If the other one wants to go, and the other one wants to sit in. I think that's something we should be taking advantage of with the midfielders that we've got. So let's work our way through. And I'm going to start with... Let's start with a rogue one. Jobe Bellingham. Let's start with Jobe. Now, I think it's not a hot take to suggest that Jobe Bellingham is going to play for England. And Jobe Bellingham and Jude Bellingham at some point will play for England together, which is very cool. It's incredible. If no one's seen him play, the way that the two of them run is exactly the same. He's super exciting. Worth a look at some point. I think it's a little bit early and a little bit rogue, and you're almost sort of hyping him up a little bit too much. So I'd like to put him in the no chance, but it's one to keep tabs on. Curtis Jones. He's got the best pass completion of all the midfielders here, 93.1%. This is one where I think with Curtis Jones, he's very complete. Could be a huge asset to Tuchel, and I think he's really, really smart, and he's a really good bench option. I don't see how he starts for England, but depending on the situation, he could be absolutely fantastic to get involved. I fear he is in the danger zone, though, just because I wonder if Tuchel will look at others just to kind of get a bit of a tactical familiarity for the initial team. And moving up from there, then you start to kind of look at him. I've got a funny feeling he might... Let's put him in worth a look. I think you know what you're going to get with him. But like in that double pivot that we just spoken about, I don't really see him in that, if I'm honest, with the other options that are knocking about. And then higher up the pitch... We just go to it for a second. Higher up the pitch, that player, if it's 3, it's going to be, actually, it's probably going to be more like that, isn't it? Could you put him in one of those two? Yeah, but, I think if you're going to play someone like Harry Kane at some stage, he's going to drop deep. You kind of need those runners. He can provide deep runs, for sure. I think he'd want a more out-and-out attacking player as opposed to a sort of a proper, complete midfielder in someone like Curtis Jones. And so that's why I'm struggling with him a little bit for this squad, but I think he would be a really good option in the squad. So probably worth a look. We'll come back to it, see if he can make it into 23. We'll have 23 names by the end of it. We'll see. And obviously it'll be a bit of a mess, but we're having a bit of fun, aren't we? Next up, Angel Gomez. Second highest passes into the penalty area per game of midfielders with 1.6, only behind Wharton. I think there's a debate here moving forward in terms of being squad regulars between Angel Gomez, if you're playing in that double pivot, as someone who's like gets on it, moves it, short passes, quick passes, getting through that first layer of the press, all those things. You've got him, you've got Kobbie Mainoo, and you've got Adam Wharton knocking about as well. I think Angel Gomez is absolutely worth a look to see how he operates in that double pivot. Like, does he look comfortable? Is there a problem in any way defensively with him? So I would really like to see him in the squad, personally. I think he is absolutely worth a look. Kobbie Mainoo, obviously having struggles this season. But again, in that double pivot, is a good option and has had... It's one of those ones, do you take any of the credit in the bank from the summer? I'm intrigued to say. Lewis Cook, not a bad shout. I haven't got him in there. I'd love to know how you guys feel about where are you putting Kobbie Mainoo? Talk to me there. Because we know he's great, but we know he's struggling right now. So I think he's probably in the danger zone. Especially when we're thinking about that double pivot. It's a tough one. Elliot Anderson. Now, Elliot Anderson, I think, is in the Curtis Jones camp in the sense, and the Conor Gallagher camp, where I think it makes life a little bit hard because you've got these guys kind of a little bit more established. And as good as Elliot Anderson has been, he's very all action. And so I'm just not sure it fits. I feel like, sadly, not really got a chance for him right now. I'm intrigued about Conor Gallagher. I think he's probably in the danger zone. I think you know what you get from Conor Gallagher. So I wonder if they'll look elsewhere just on this occasion. So I think those two could miss due down from a profile point of view. He's got the second highest interceptions per game against midfielders. So I think it depends on the game and on how the overall squad balance that Conor Gallagher might get a look in. But yeah, I've got a feeling like he might just miss out on this occasion. Adam Wharton, for that double pivot, if we're getting to the names that we know are going to play, Declan Rice, he'll go. And he's definitely a squad regular. No doubt about that. Jude Bellingham. Now, Jude Bellingham, I think it's like wholeheartedly now, give him the keys to it. But at the same time, in terms of what we've seen with Real Madrid, give him that kind of that freedom. And when I say freedom, it's not freedom to just stand around. Freedom to use what we've got with him, which is outrageous energy, the ability to pick up a game and drive with it, the ability to do everything as a midfielder to like the most outrageous degree, to allow him to be clutch at times, to allow the team to overload areas of the position of the pitch higher up because of the deep runs that he provides. I think he could be huge when you've got players like Trent and Harry Kane involved, and those runs from deep could be just kind of unstoppable. So he absolutely plays. Where's Wharton? Wharton, for me, has to be in the squad. Has to be in the squad. Most progressive passes per game in the entire list. If you think of, Crystal Palace in the way that they play, there will be some understanding there. He is class. So good. And I think you want to see, it's not just worth having a look, like he needs to be in the squad. And I think the thing about him and Angel Gomez is defensively you get more from Wharton. So that's what puts him above him. Does he start? And this is the question, like, is Tuchel brave enough to leave someone like Declan Rice on the bench? And also, does he need to? But you can't play, I think you're struggling to play all three of them. I think he will go with Declan Rice, but I think he has to be brave enough to go, do you know what? That works better, if it does work better. But I think actually Bellingham and Declan Rice as a midfield too. The one thing you got with Declan Rice is the running from him is just sensational. And if you've got a midfielders there, that you're allowing them at times to use that stamina that they have, I think that's super exciting. And I think Tuchel will be excited by that as well. And obviously defensively, he's outrageous. So good off the ball. So I think he'll go, and I think that's who will end up playing as his two midfielders there. Let's keep going. Where to you now? Morgan Gibbs-White. I think Morgan Gibbs-White is worth a look. Because in terms of having someone that can maybe work with Kane and run beyond him, I think there's something interesting there. And again, this comes back to, what's he going to do? Is he going to play 3 at the back? Or if he's not, and it's going to be a back 4, then it's going to look more like this. If that's happening, I guess there's a world where you could do that. And you could do you play Cole Palmer on the right? Or who do you want to play on the right? Or do you want Jared Bowen there? We'll get to all those, in a second. But if you do play the 3 at the back and you have these 2 in here, is there a world there because of the runners that you want that there's something to be seen when it comes to Morgan Gibbs-White? Because again, Kane dropping deep, and obviously Kane is naturally going to start. Palmer is never outrageously going to run beyond. You do need a runner. You need some runners. So Morgan Gibbs-White, I would like to have a look at him, please, if that's all right with you. Is he going to be a squad regular? Time will tell. But I would like him to be seen. Okay. Jared Bowen. Let's talk Jared Bowen. I can't get away from Jared Bowen when it comes to this England squad. Because I think with Trent, Jared Bowen and Trent could help provide so much balance for the team. Obviously, in time, you're going to want to play Saka. Yeah, you probably are. But right now, without Saka knocking around, if you play a 4, as we've discussed, let's get rid of all these guys. If you're going to play a 4, Jared Bowen with Trent behind him, I think is really, really nice. Because he's going to offer that width. And actually, even if you again, I'm going to go back to it, and you're going to have to go like this. To have that runner, because I don't think Trent's ever really wanting to get into this area of the pitch that much. And Jared Bowen, even from this position, is willing to make that run and then is able to do something once he's over there. So either way, even here scurrying and running, also someone who's played up front as well. Jared Bowen is just a really, really lovely fit for me. And so for me, for this first squad, in terms of seeing it, not only do you want him in the squad. I want him in the team. I really want to have a proper look at him. Where are you, Jared? Where are you, little boy? You lovely man. There he is. I think he'll go and I think he should play. I'd really like to see it. Cole Palmer, obviously he's got to go. And I think in terms of building the team around players right now, he has to play. When we did that setup video, we're talking about him and Foden. Can you play both of them? Yes, you probably can. But in terms of, having those runners, I think it may be a little period here where Foden has to sit on the bench until he finds his form again. Trippier, I've got him on here for some reason. No chance. It's over, isn't it? Kyle Walker, feel like we're coming to the end of that as well. So that's done. I think there's also a few others that feel like they've got no chance for me, sadly, just because of the overall options you've got. And I think Eze feels like one of those to me. I don't see how he fits in this Tuchel team. Maddison, similar feeling, really. I think if you've got someone like Cole Palmer, you're going to go with him. I wouldn't hate him in the squad. Same with Eze, really. But they're only ever going to be squad players if you need that little extra spark. But I think because you've got a big name like Foden, you're going to end up wanting to use him, right? So I think that makes life difficult for them. One person who I think is massively in the danger zone, and I'm really struggling to see how he gets into this team, is Jack Grealish, which is really sort of pretty heartbreaking, really. But I think with the need for runners on that left-hand side, someone that will go and will play, obviously is Harry Kane. We know that. But I think Anthony Gordon on that left-hand side, if you play a back four, and I've kind of shown my hand now a little bit, I think he will want to look at a back four if he can do. And I think he's got the players to do it. And I think in terms of exploring it, he'll try both, but I think he'll start with a four. That would be my guess. And within that, I think it'll be Livramento ends up playing as that left back for them. Ollie Watkins, squad regular. Solanke, a great pressing option for a squad and probably your third striker if you're taking three. But probably in the danger zone right now. I mean, that feels a bit cruel. Because I think Liam Delap, I think it's worth having a look. I think it absolutely is worth having a look with Liam Delap. Got 10 goals this season. I think he's been really, really good in a team that struggled. And a lot of people feel like he's the heir to Harry Kane in time. Obviously, look, Ollie Watkins is not going anywhere anytime soon. And so he's ahead of him right now. But I think Delap's definitely worth a look. As is Morgan Rogers. I really, really would. I think it would be such a waste to not have Morgan Rogers in this squad and to have a proper look at him. He's perfect for that left number 10 role in a 3-4-2-1 system. 12 goals, 6 assists. I think he's worth a look. Rashford. I don't think you're going to learn anything new with Rashford. And I think Gordon will do the role that he will do. And I think you need him playing well for a long period of time. I think there's too much flux in his life right now in terms of being at Villa and alone and all that stuff. I don't think it's worth doing it right now when there's so many options, as you can see. So I think he's a no chance. Harry Maguire, are you going to learn anything with him? Probably in the danger zone for me, but because of the maybe the lack of centre-backs overall, although we've got Ben White and we've got Ezri Konsa here, I'd like to not see him in there. Branthwaite as well. So I'm going to put him in the danger zone, but you know what you're going to get with him. And in terms of a back three, could play in the middle of a three, and he'd be probably quite comfortable there. So I think Tuchel knows what he's going to get with him. And then Madueke, a different option on the right. Is he worth a look? I think if you're looking to try and have that width, he's going to provide that. But then how are you going to, where you put Cole Palmer? Is he going to be that 10? Maybe worth a look. I'd chuck him in there. And I'd also like to see Nwaneri. Because Saka's not available, and because there is that little bit more of a space on the right. Bino Gittins is a great shout. We've not put him in it. That was stupid. Am I dumb or is Saka not there? Not putting Saka in there because of the injury, obviously, that he's had. I know he's on his way back, but we're not there yet. So I think it would be silly to sort of rush him back. Why bother? This isn't like forevermore. This is the first squad that Tuchel's going to pick. That's what we're working on here. So Nwaneri, I think, is worth a look. So let's go through it. I've got my 11 here, I think. We've got a goalkeeper, right back, centre back, left back, double pivot, on the right, on the left, Cole Palmer in the middle, and Harry Kane up top. That's my 11. And then we've got 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I'm going to give myself 6 picks to put through. Let's have 3 goalkeepers. So 5 picks left. Now's the time to let me know in the chat who, out of this worth a look line, needs to be in the final squad. I think Morgan Rogers, I really would want to see. I think Jed Spence, there's a lot to learn. And I think it might be one where, say, you pop Trent out, substitute him, put Livramento bombing on that right-hand side, let Jed Spence come on that left-hand side to explore that if you're going to need him, because that's where we're lacking that bit of depth. Tyrick Mitchell, I don't hate that idea either, because we've not really got these left backs, so maybe it's worth exploring this. And I know because Lewis Hall is out to the end of the season. What else are we missing? I think Angel Gomez I'd really like to see. So how many we got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 1 spot left. I would like to see, out of this group here, more than anyone else in this team, I think I'm leaning. I think we can wait for Waneri. I think it's more about the tactical familiarity right now. The person I'm most intrigued about to see him work with Kane, with Palmer, is actually Morgan Gibbs-White. So I'm going to put Morgan Gibbs-White in there. Switch Gomez for Jones. No, I want to see Angel Gomez, and I want to see how that can work in this setup. What do you think? Let me know if you enjoyed this. You want me to do more of it. Please, please, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and